Hello, Steve White, Trek Boy 89 for Steve Arts 89. Well, I just watched 765874 Unification, and I'm not quite sure what to make of this. I have very mixed feelings, and I'm quite confused by what this is trying to say / achieve. Okay, so first off, in case you haven't watched it, the short film was actually only 7 minutes long. The video is 10 minutes long, but it's like 2 or 3 minutes of credits, which is pretty cruel for a short film because I was expecting more and then just ended. I'm like, oh. The film starts off with Gary Mitchell, basically I'm guessing in another dimension, in some sort of god form, but still of his own physical form or appearance. Maybe he's in hell, I don't know. He was killed on some level in Star Trek, but yet here he is. So the idea would be that somehow he, through his godness, has brought Kirk back to life. But then we see Yeoman Colt in the... This is where it gets confusing. In the J.J. Abrams universe timeline costume, which she would have existed in that time frame. Like, this is like, I guess, the Prime Universe cult, because that's a separate, JJ Prime Universe is separate from the original canon universe. By copyright and by art and creation and films and everything, it's like they're separate. I know some fans have this delusion that they're the same, and Paramount likes to try and sell them as the same because I guess they see it's a more marketable product than different universes and different timelines, to try and act like it's all the same when it's not. But they show her looking at the screens that we saw in Picard, where we see that his body is basically being kept in this facility. But yet that facility is 100 years or so in the future. So how is she there in her original series era Prime JJ version self? It doesn't make any sense. It's like, well, we've got Gary Mitchell as a god who could make this happen. Then we've got New Trek technology, alternate timeline story, alternate universe story that could make this reality. And then we see there's a character called Crusher, because basically what we have is Kirk having been somehow reborn, regenerated, recreated, walking through this garden, and then he sees a whole group of people, and we recognise several faces. First off, there's an officer in Starfleet uniform who's called Crusher. I'm assuming that's a very old Wesley Crusher, but it's not an aged-up Will Wheaton, so it's unclear. Then we see Robin Curtis playing an aged-up Savick, and her son, because she was impregnated by Spock in Star Trek 3: The Search for Spock. We know this. He's playing a Vulcan called Sorak, S-O, not S-U. I think that's how they spelled it. Someone made a point of that in a video, and I didn't actually check the credits. And he seems quite emotional at the sight of Kirk and the whole situation. Then Kirk walks over to Yor. Now, Yor was seen in Star Trek Discovery in the Discovery timeline, which is a different timeline from the Kelvin timeline and a different universe. And that universe is a different universe from the Prime Universe anyway. So it's just a mess of conflicting timelines, universes, and everything. I guess they want it to be a unification of these things, but these things can't be unified because they're separate. So it's a mess. So he walks up to Yor, and Yor hands him, and note that Yor has now the correct Starfleet comm badge, because he had the wrong one in the timeline image that he was shown in Star Trek Discovery. And he hands Kirk his comm badge that was left by Picard on his grave that Spock took. And this was the Spock of the original canon universe in Generations, post-Generations, where they were still salvaging the ship. And he took that with him. This is the mess. Spock stayed in the prime timeline after he moved from that universe, just from timeline to timeline, and that Spock died. And we saw him looking at a photo of Kirk and crew who is missing because, of course, he left them in a different timeline. And Kirk is there. Now, is this the Kirk from that timeline? Is this the Kirk from that universe? Is this the Kirk from the other universe, from actual generations? It's a mess. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't go together. Now, even if you believe that it was the same universe, it's still different timelines. So, and I know some people are trying to say, well, just because it's different timelines doesn't mean things still can't align somewhere along the line. I'm like, no, they can be similar and run parallel, but they're still separate. So, on one level, it's great to see they were reunited at Spock's death. But which Kirk is this? Which Spock is this? Does it matter? Does it have any meaning if it's not the actual Kirk and Spock who actually went, through all their experiences together? It's a mess, and it stopped me from connecting to it emotionally. I was a little bit emotional, but I should have been crying like a bitch, like a lot of people apparently are over this, because the idea of Kirk and Spock being reunited at Spock's death has some meaning, but for me, I got caught up in the which Kirk is this, which Spock is this, how is he in this timeline? If he is in the Picard future and they brought Kirk back to life and reunited them, how is Colt involved? Like, this doesn't work. Why is Gary Mitchell there? Did Gary Mitchell, I guess, set all these things in motion in that universe? So it actually happened. He didn't sort of make it touch like Q snapping his fingers, but he still had an influence. So I'm guessing that's what it is, but it's a mess. And like I said, it stopped me from sort of engaging with it emotionally, really. But Kirk, he is transported somehow magically into this symbolic corridor where he sees his self, which they show the 66 Shatner, who looks amazing, and then they show the Wrath of Khan Kirk, which looks amazing as well. All of these are played by William Shatner Kirk at 90, with help of a actor playing his body and CGI to de-age him. But it is him acting, and it is great to see him give Kirk a farewell on some level and have Kirk come back and also sort of say goodbye to him, and say goodbye to Leonard Nimoy Spock, because he didn't get to say goodbye to Leonard Nimoy because Leonard Nimoy would have nothing to do with him in his last days. And I'm sorry, my mouth is so dry. I was really sick today. I had an ocular migraine, and yes, I'm struggling. And I didn't need this today, but it's like, it happened. I had to watch it. Now I'm reacting to it. Because, Leonard Nimoy would have nothing to do with him in his last days, because I guess when you are in your last days, you just don't have time for the kind of bullshit that comes with William Shatner. So part of me understands that Nimoy's relatives were involved in this and gave their blessing, but I guess Leonard Nimoy would approve of this, because it would be petty to hold grudges against William Shatner. So I don't know what to make of any of this. It's beautiful, it's confusing, it doesn't work, it's a mess, but it's trying. The intentions are good. They're trying to unify Shatner, Nimoy, Kirk, Spock, Prime original canon, JJ Trek, Kelvin timeline, Discovery timeline, the original canon timeline. They're trying to unify it all, and give it all, I don't know. This was supposed to be a 5-minute video, but it's so complicated. Now, I knew Robin Curtis was coming back as Savick because she did slip and mention it in something, but I wasn't sure if it was in this or if it was in Strange New Worlds or, you know, something like that, or in a future film or something. It turns out it was this Otoy short film. And as much as I love these, they are just a bit of a tease, and they are a bit cruel because they show us what could be done as just a promotion for a website archive. So yeah, it's a bit cruel, and it just makes you want more and be frustrated at what they could be doing and what could be done using the actors and CGI and the current technology and everything. But at the same time, with the different universes and timelines, it's a mess anyway. I mean, I don't know how to make sense of all this really. But I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think of this version of Unification, this Otoy Unification. And the numbers at the start, which I cannot remember, which is why I had to read them out. That's the serial number of Ensign now. I don't know what rank she has in this video, but Colt. So the 765874, that's her serial number. And I don't understand how she has any involvement in this scenario, because time-wise it doesn't make any sense. Technology-wise it doesn't make any sense. Canon-wise it doesn't make any sense. Had Q just popped up and clicked his fingers, maybe it would have made some sort of sense. Gary Mitchell doesn't make any sense. None of this makes any sense. I'm going to go and try and work out how I feel about this and what this is.